Why is it that these videos always seem to just happen to start on a dark and stormy night? I'll tell you why. It's because in order to be in the mood to create a creepy and comfy space, you need to be in a creepy and comfy mindset. It's like why you always make sure you don't eat before you go to the grocery store. Just imagine sitting right here beside the window while it pours outside, having a conversation with a friend about what spooky stories we read during the night. This has got to be one of my favorite buildings so far. Hello everyone, and welcome back once again to Minecraft. Creepy and comfy creative world. And I know, and I'm sorry, I said that I was going to be doing these more frequently and shorter, and that's still the plan. But I was waiting on a couple of things before I started this one, but those things are finally here. I've added a couple of new mods as always, and one of them is a long requested one that I think you're going to be really excited for. But it's the kind of thing that it's better if we learn about it on our own time rather than me directly showing you. However, there is something we can have a look at right now if we just get dry in the library. Oh wow, I just realized this thing is watching us through the windows. So if we go into here, we can see that we have added macaws, stairs, and balconies. I'd said in the last part that I was having a lot of difficulty with making the stairs in the hotel, but now we've got all these things. So we can do stuff like, unfortunately it doesn't work the same way as bridges where they stack off of each other, but things like this should be much easier. Not only does it add those stairs, but it allows us to place railings as well. There we go. And so that makes all this very, very easy. Fortunately, I don't think we can... Can we place them on both sides if we wanted? Look at that, we totally can. So very, very useful. But that's not all. Remember, it is Macaw's stairs and balconies. So it adds platform blocks, which aren't quite the same as regular slabs. Let's just add a balcony. And let's go outside and see how this works. This is so cool. I was messing around with it a little bit before. But whoops. I'm also not quite sure how it works. Look at that. We can even add it as like an underhang. Oh, that's gonna unlock so much potential. Hang on, I had this before. Alright, we need to be facing away from it. And now, if we wanted, we could do stuff like that. This is the kind of thing I'm always talking about when I say we need, like, real creative updates. Hello? Oh, wow, you startled me. Silent Oaks Cemetery. Oh, that reminds me. One of you made a thread in the video suggestions channel on the Discord saying that something this server needs, or something this map needs, is more actual textual lore. I mean, we've been talking about having all these myths and legends and just simple history and backstory to this town for the entire game, but so much of it isn't actually codified in the build of the map itself. So much of it is just things that I've said. And part of that is the fact that this town doesn't even have a name. And that's something that's kind of been an elephant in the room for this entire time. Something that I've kind of neglected because I was afraid to commit to it, but I've been thinking of some things back and forth. One of them was that I should just call it like Misty Hollow again, after the map that it was based on from 12 years ago. But I don't know, I think it's definitely taken on an identity of its own. It should take after that, but it's got to be its own thing. And so something I was thinking of, wow, that cleared up fast. You can literally watch the clouds dissolve. How about River Hollow? Because it's still got that similar autumn look to Misty Hollow, it's still got that creepy and comfy aesthetic, but it's also defined by its rivers, by its bridges, by its crossing, and the whole town, the planning is based around the edges of these rivers. So I feel like that's pretty appropriate. So, what is on the itinerary for today? Well, I had intended to do shorter, more focused episodes, you know, just like 1 or 2 builds per, and they would release more frequently, and that's still a good idea, I think. But I've never really finished this block of residential housing, so I'm probably going to work on that. And I definitely want to have something big per video. And I was thinking of a couple of things to flesh out the commercial district. Hello? Okay. All these just kinda sprung up out of nowhere. I was just looking down here like there's no way this was here before, right? Okay, well, I'm sure that's nothing. We need to start working on the patron graveyard, though, because a whole bunch of you had made requests. I'm probably not going to put as many random names in here as before, simply because there's so many requests that we need to make sure we conserve space for them. I just figured out why you couldn't sleep down here. Hang on, there you go. Villager, will you actually move now? Oh, wow, you can't climb up here for some reason. Why is nothing working correctly here? Oh, probably because, man, the far-reaching nature of this bug is absolutely destroying this server. I keep calling it the server. Okay, bud, you should be able to sleep there now. You don't have to stay here. You can get a job again. I encourage you, as founder of this town, as current mayor of this town, to get a job. Just to, I guess, bring you up to speed, I have also partially fixed the library, because this is where most of those problems were. What is going on here? I don't understand what the issue is. So, is something weird going on with the world generation? I'm gonna have to back this place up, but anyways, I've gone with the shorter shelves here. I think it still works fine. And I've started to work, it's a bit more annoying on the adult section again. There we go. Something really weird is happening around the library. And I should probably make sure that it's not happening elsewhere as well? As always, we have a few new additions to the cemetery. And I gotta say, these new blocks are really making it a lot easier to get creative with these things. Also, some of you requested specific looks for them, so I've accommodated that as much as possible. Over here, we've got an eternal flame, which I think is a neat idea. Oh, and also, we've finally connected to the mortuary, so it actually has a path now. That's neat. Is that priest actually gone in? No, he's still being lazy, just on his forever smoke break back there. But hey, when we look around, it's actually starting to look like a town now. Oh, I'd almost forgotten. This is something that's super exciting, and I'd forgotten I even installed this mod. So this item we have here, we can go like this and cover that window. Now, it may look like I've just blocked it off, but if we right-click, look at that, curtains. And it's modular. We can conform this to so many different shapes. So for example, if we go like that, we can do this. I don't think it'll work if we do like the 6 shape. It doesn't do everything, but for the most part, it will allow us to take on whatever form we need. So we can do the same back here. We're going to be putting these on like most of the windows in the game probably, because hey, what's an uncovered window? There's a huge variety of these things to choose from, and that is not all that's introduced by this mod. Okay, yeah, we can't go 3 high, but if we look in the tab that they come from, that'll be Cetrion's Fabulous Furniture. This adds literally thousands of blocks of vanilla-like furniture add-ons. So things like knife blocks and cabinets, microwaves, ovens, refrigerators, it's got a ton. A lot of them are just different variations of the same handful of things, but look at this. We can get like a lamp or something. Maybe we can find some place to put that in here. Yeah, that can go, whoops, that can go here. And it actually works as a light source. This has just gotten so much cooler as time has gone on. Like, there's just so many tools available to us. Not that I'm planning to do it here, but it looks like we can actually do it in this configuration. Yeah, it really, really likes horizontal. I just don't think we can go vertical by more than 2 blocks. Ah, this is awesome. This is going to make things so much better. Something I've not touched in way too long is the town hall. There's something I've wanted to add for a while, and I've never gotten around to it. So let's go ahead and construct ourselves these stairs. Ah, that makes things so much easier. You have no idea. There we go. We can just place a platform right... Oops. Actually, yeah, we can just place a platform right there, and that'll be fine. Yeah, everything conforms to itself. You just kind of have to have faith that it is going to work. I'm so used to working around things in Minecraft. But there we go. Nice, compact, and easy. None of the usual finagling that I have to do. This helps a lot with making things more compact, especially when it comes to upper levels. Because we can just kind of do that for a top railing, and we can do this to gain some more walking space up here, which means we can actually expand this a little bit. Make this make a little bit more sense. And let's get rid of all of this. There we go. And there we go. We add more cutout space and make this area more walkable. Little conveniences like this really add up, especially in limited space. And that looks a whole lot better, too. Look at that. That's something I was curious about, but it seems it's true. It actually does sort of block light to an extent. Look at that, the sun's setting behind the hotel. And more importantly, the Blockbuster. I'm just going around on a detailing spree right now. It's incredible, even if it's something you can't necessarily see in a lot of places. Look at that. The moonlight reflects off of, well, it's moving now, but it was reflecting off of just one window in particular, making it glow in response to us. With the sun rising here, now is probably a good time to show you something that you have requested for a long time. And I've always wanted to do it, it's just something I wasn't sure how to implement, but now I do. See, this was always intended to be a dusty old storage attic, and it kind of made no sense that there were no inner workings of the clock. Well, now we have it. Accessed directly off of the founder's room, we now have this place, and it sort of gives you an opportunity to prank the town. See, part of your suggestion was that it should be sort of a parkour challenge, something that you can kind of run and jump around and give you something to do, well, jump-wise. Something you always want in a map, especially a Minecraft map. So, if we climb up into here, it's all very symmetrical, but you can sort of get around, go like this, up here. Bit of a big leap at the end, and try not to get the cobwebs in your hair. But you can actually reach the bell itself. Now, given all the ghost stories surrounding this place, imagine what people think when the bell starts ringing off time. Call me Jimmy Carter, because I'm back to building houses. I really want to get this stuff back in order. The mailbox to the haunted house just scared me. Oh, by the way, I don't know if I ever showed it, but I built a mailbox. Don't remember when I did that. Yeah, every once in a while I'll just pop in here and make little additions, but I really should be doing all this on camera just in case. Look, we've even got new bird baths added by the mod, and yeah, we have so much new detail available to us. And the cool thing is, a lot of these things even work. Look, we can come over to the sink and turn it on. Yeah, this is definitely a revolution in detailing our maps. And things are starting to feel real cozy in here. Street lights are coming on, sun is setting. Time to build the next one. These houses are legitimately the hardest part, because we just have to build a ton of them with no particular theme. Once more, I keep thinking that mailbox is somebody watching me from afar. Man, it is so spooky, those big windows of the Haunted Mansion staring at me as I work. Every once in a while it's like that. It's something I've not often felt in this game since the early days of Minecraft, especially in creative. But yeah, I do really... I'm starting to feel watched on this map, especially when working in certain areas. Another night, another house built. I seem to be alternating these, you know, more houses you can picture a family living in and things that are more for those who appreciate the simple things. But this block is starting to flesh itself out. And here's what I'm thinking. We actually need a new sign for this one. Because this is gonna... this would be a different street, right? It wouldn't be Founders Street anymore. These hanging signs are a bit smaller, but this one can be Carpenter Street. And facing this direction will also have a name once there's more houses on this side. But that would make you... let's just grab a sign. That would make you 1 Carpenter Street, so we can place that right there. And you would be 2, right over the door. And that's 1 more house complete. And we can just go ahead and label you 3. And then 4, 5, 6 will be on the opposite side. Let's spawn a couple of villagers to go here. Town continues to grow, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because there's 2 beds in one, then 1, then another 2. And they're all going to party in the smallest house. Oh, okay. I guess they're just looking for beds. And this one is going to wander the streets at night. Hey man, are you sure about that? A lot of creepy stuff happens out here. Well, I suppose you'll probably be okay, so long as you stay beneath the streetlights. Oh hey, look, somebody's finally taking this. There you go. Oh no, what we have here is a thrill seeker. Somebody who's chosen to stay, not watching the stars, but watching the window of the haunted house next door. I'm telling you, people watching in this game is really great. I've talked before about how I have a server with my cousin that we've been working on for years, and I swear half of it is just making fun of villagers and watching them go places. I'm sorry, is this not good enough for you? Oh wait, no, that's actually really funny. You had a peek in here and said, oh god, it's taken. Man, some locks would not go amiss around here, huh? But look at that, we've actually managed to keep the low clearance zoning going. Alright, I think that's enough for now. I do like to bounce around. And there's a project actually way over here that I would sort of like to start working on. It's something that I've alluded to for a while. And in fact, we cleared out the space a couple episodes ago. Yes, I believe it was way down here. This is pretty far outside of town, but I feel like I want to have more things that are far outside town. Things you have to really venture out in order to see. And starting this off, we're gonna need a bridge. It's mostly gonna be on this side of the river, but there would be a bridge. So it's gonna have both conveyor belts and foot traffic. For this whole project, I've been taking inspiration from stuff like Twin Peaks a lot. This is going to be more of an Alan Wake meets Infra sort of project, because this is also going to be abandoned. Something that's kind of a reference to the town's past, to its economic past. And a past that is long gone, or maybe still works to some capacity, but not nearly to the extent that it used to. Actually, we have the opportunity to do something kind of funny here. Why don't we macaw this thing up, using macaw's bridges, stairs, all that stuff, in order to make this as immersive as it should be. First we gotta figure out how to get it up here. There we go, and you. If we remove that, you'll stay. And this will become our walkway, stretching across this entire thing. The reason we're doing this is because this thing is mainly not meant for being a human passageway like the one in the residential area. This is just something so that we can get across if we need to. Call it a utility passage. There we go. And we can't make it go downward quite as readily. Next, what we do is set up these rail tracks, which we do have to place by hand. We unfortunately can't piggyback them off of each other, and have them running this way. Now, I'm actually really curious, can we place an actual minecart on them? Will they work? It doesn't seem so, unfortunately. But we've got them now. Unless, hang on. Wait. Can we place rails on them? We can, okay. We may or may not do it for aesthetic reasons. Oh my god. I was just gonna say that building this bridge feels kind of spooky at night. Something about the nature of a covered bridge. But it seems somebody's come to watch me work. Maybe the ghosts of one of the old miners or loggers or whatever kind of camp this is gonna be. So, there we have it. From the Fog has officially updated to the current version. And this is my life now, apparently. Let's actually double up on the fences here instead of having the spruce logs. And I really have for a long time thought that From the Fog would be a great addition to this because it adds scares to the game, but in a way that actually doesn't really disrupt the creative process. If anything, it just gives us a jolt, something to keep us on our toes once in a while, you know? But yeah, this is the sort of conveyor system, the rail system, that transports things from one side of the river to the other. Now, maybe we'll have like a train station or a rail yard or something over here in order to pick that stuff up, but on the other side is going to be the camp itself. And for that, we need some big wooden structures. The question now is, how are we actually going to go about these things? Because as far as I can tell, they don't actually angle downward. We can't get the rail bridges to do that. But maybe we can do something like, look, if we get this type of rail and go like that, that does work. So clearly that's how we're meant to use these things. Maybe we'll only do it on the edges though, because I sort of like this bare look. Or maybe we'll even do rails sporadically, like it's just been decaying, rotting. Ooh, you know what we could even do? Holes. Holes in the planks. Yeah! This thing is crumbling. It's falling apart. Wood does not stay. Just gotta make sure it's still aesthetically pleasing to look at from a distance, you know? And now, as you're traversing this thing, you'll be able to look down and occasionally see the river below. Honestly, I'm probably combining imagery from a logging mill and a mine here. But I don't really particularly care. It looks cool, especially when it's abandoned. One might almost think these things were designed to be abandoned. But yeah, all of these things always end in a tower that connects up at the hill behind them. Well, now our weird tower thing exists. And we'll build some rails so that things can be gravity-assisted all the way down across the river. Which I guess is probably the point of this thing. Probably an elevator inside, put some catwalks and walkways, and whatever which catway walk. And of course, what would something like this be without the weird second tower sitting at half height connecting onto the side? We use these birch planks, which I haven't really made very much use of in this series. I don't know, I feel like it works here because sort of more of a light gray wood is often what you see when it's like worn down a lot. And it just kind of makes this place feel sort of dusty. Especially since we're not going to be lighting this thing at all, I think something like this is probably appropriate. But we're not going to seal this off entirely because this is how you access this stuff. And there would probably be a fairly sizable door in the back. There we go. Alright, we're going to build our stairs right here, going down to the lower platform. But maybe we don't rely on stairs for the entire thing. We do have this whole second tower next to us. So why don't we open things up a little bit? And maybe we put our elevator in here. There we go. Here's our exit from the bottom. Now we need to work out how we're handling this elevator. So we've got an opening up at this floor. The next one's going to have to be down here somewhere. This is so much more work than I thought it would be. Oh, hey there. Well, it certainly is a beautiful morning, isn't it? Look at that, the way it falls over all of this. And this is actually exactly what I was hoping to capture. I mean, an abandoned place can be spooky at night, beautiful in the morning, cozy during the day. The lighting does so many favors to this map. Alright, but now what we want is to make sure that this place has room for an elevator. That's really what this room is. It's only accessible from the side because we want a ladder entrance. After all, we've got to start working on the mine portion of this, right? So, the thing that I've seen that has the best use for this is probably the waxed exposed copper. Same thing we used in the town hall. Actually, if we just search for grate, because I'm pretty sure that's a new block altogether, isn't it? Or maybe it isn't. Wow, I'm actually pretty surprised. But anyways, let's just build it with this old, not rusted material, but it's basically rusted as far as our purposes go. This is a mod that has been installed since literally episode 1, but now we're finally going to have a chance to use it. And these are the factory blocks. We can have all manner of rusty plates all over. We could even mix them in with slightly less rusty ones, but this thing, let's be real, it's completely gone. It's been so long. And this elevator is not going anywhere anytime soon. There we go, that can be the threshold. This can be the doors left partway open. And the interior of this can be something like this. Like this would be the actual cage of the elevator itself, while the copper is the surrounding bars. There we go. That looks scary, doesn't it? Meanwhile, this thing will be held up by a pair of chains, which can apparently jut out of the wall. And never you mind what kind of mechanism that's connected to, it doesn't matter. Now, the elevator is trapped where it is. That's not going anywhere, I think. And it hasn't for a long time. What it's going to be is the way you get down is going to be through the service ladder right here. Oh, hey, look, there's a dungeon down here. Wow, I wonder what kind of good loot we can get from this. Lots of bones, a music disc. Wow, this looks like it's some kind of burial ground. It would be morally wrong to build here. Unless nobody knows that it's here. Whatever, it's not like large groups of blue-collar workers are gonna have to spend a lot of time down here. What are the ghosts gonna go after? So now we've got the bottom of the mine shaft and— oh my god! I was gonna say we can always file this under things that can be expanded upon later. Oh my... Well, that was a genuine heart attack. Alright, what kind of ladders do we have? Still only the one ladder. There's gotta be some metal ladders somewhere, but you know what? It sort of makes sense that just a rickety wooden one would be all we have in the event of a collapse or something like that. Alright, let's get out of here. See? I mean, it may look pretty from the surface, but even if it's during the day, you'll still be crawling down into the dark. And there's a lot of history down in those tunnels. Of course, an operation of this size is also going to need an admin building, you know, a foreman's office where everything is run from. So that will be just one breezeway away. Because in a place like this, everything is a breezeway, otherwise what's the point? I love construction like this, where by the time we're done with this, we're probably going to have a couple more rails, and it's just going to be stuff crisscrossing all over. Whether it's rail lines, breezeways, all kinds of stuff. It's tunnels in the sky. Everything needs to go to different elevations rapidly, and it's all these like simple industrial solutions out in the middle of nowhere. What the heck was that? I don't know if I've seen lightning like that before. That looked like the sun coming down to destroy the Earth. Which, you know, I don't think we've done anything that bad to attempt such a response. Well, at least we've got some nice apocalyptic ambiance while we're roofing. No, seriously, it really feels like the lightning is going crazy in this episode. And I swear it hasn't been this bad in the past. It's just constantly lighting little fires all around me. That over there, I believe, is the campfire, probably from the abandoned house. I swear, I spend so much time just working on these stair roofs. I mean, they're a pain to work on to begin with, but when you have this advanced placement mod, it's even worse. Even when I don't see him, I still hear him. Always out there, huh? So this is going to be the way through to here. Now we need to start working on how the interior is going to look. Let's put some railings on you, and some railings on you. And what I'm going for with this is that, you know, the foreman's office is all about observation. It's being able to look out at what's around here and see what's going on. So, we're probably also going to want some stairs right here and here. And then we can have you going this way far as we can. At a certain point, that's going to bump your head, though. So that'll just be a nice little perch right here. I really do love messing with just weird architecture, stuff that's just to fit. And it's a lot easier with mods like this. There we go. And now we have one of the best views in this whole place. Or it would be if the windows were knocked out, which they conveniently can be. Look at this, right here, level, so that you can make sure that all the carts are going perfectly. It's all about a place where we can measure logistics. This is so cool. Oh, and for detailing, we should also probably do what we did in the attic of Town Hall. In other words, use one of our many mods that allow us to do this to just place crates all over. Lots of crates and desks and cobwebs, because of course there's cobwebs everywhere. One of these days I'm just going to have to do a giant detailing pass of everything on the map, but until then, I'm pretty happy with the way things are set up now. There we go. Actually, I was looking at this, and it only makes sense if the point is to transport minerals up out of the mine and then send them downward. There would have to be the construction doesn't work out, but it doesn't really reach up here. I mean, you could do it. We could actually also have another entrance back here. Yes, we could. And there's also room for us to have another rail line running out this way. So let's do that. So the question I've been asking here is, yes, this stuff has to all drop down out of the tower, but where does it all go? And so I think we have our answer now, and that answer is going to be a ferry terminal. A ferry terminal, or rather a barge terminal, that comes out right here. And being for the express purpose of bridges, the cool thing about these blocks is that they actually do play nice with water. I mean, some blocks, you drop them down and they create an air pocket around them. These do not have that problem. So we're gonna extend you guys out just a bit more. Actually, no, what am I doing? We need to make sure that there's clearance for something to actually come in. Ow! I just got struck by lightning! What are the odds of that? Is that like a... That can't be natural, right? I've never, in all my years of Minecraft, had that happen before. Good thing it was creative. That is actually dumbfounding. Okay, well, anyway, we need... Actually, if we look in the factory blocks, that'll probably be the best place to find stuff for this, right? I don't know. I'm looking for stuff to construct a crane out of. There you go. There's your stinking cranes. Now we've got our nice little terminal constructed there, and oh, this is coming out better than I had hoped, honestly. I had thought this would be kind of beyond my capability. But things are looking pretty cool. Look, you come all the way up here into the lower level. You can always detail this up some more later. But most of all, I am super happy with how like areas like this came out. The way it actually does feel sort of like aged and dusty, and it goes to show that the context you present things in goes a long way towards showing how you perceive the blocks, because we've used some of these same things to make people's homes. Here we have this nice little walkway out here, just a little bit where we're outside and disconnected from the main building. But here we have a little bit where we can walk down the stairs. And that leads down into the dark, scary mine. We could probably make this at least a little bit more secure. The elevator shaft, of course, being empty. I was half expecting Herobrine to get me a second time there. We've also made a couple of improvements, really just to the general layout. A lot more things have support beams. We've got some crates down here in the elevator entrance, or at least the place where it's permanently stopped. I definitely think a detail pass is needed over the whole world, but, you know, here's the second level. The main thing I need to work on before we wrap this up is going to be, well, how you get elevator access to this third level, because it's kind of weird that this main bridge doesn't have it. Okay, I went with the lazy option because I've been recording for a really long time. But we're gonna cap off the elevator here. This is where it stopped. And just kind of make it so that there's a second transfer elevator that goes up to the third floor. Is it really, really annoying for the workers? I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. But I do sort of like the idea of letting some light in back here this way. You know, it's still coming through the cage, but it is sort of pretty looking. And then you just kind of deposit everything onto the rail cars right here. In fact, why don't we make it so that there's a bit of a pile up? Let's go like that, and mine carts, of course, with chests, and empty ones as well. And let's just plant some stuff right here. The big problem is the way it ends. You always have to sort of break it off on the end like that. make sure this goes a little bit further. And there we go. We've got a nice assortment of carts right here. And I think everything works the way it's supposed to. I mean, just imagine in the middle of the night, you go boating down the river, you know, you're just out for a nice night with your friends, gonna find some place to camp, and you just see the silhouette of this in the darkness. Now that is cool. And there's definitely plenty more we can do with it. We still need to work out how everything looks on the ground, what the paths are like on the floor. Actually, if this is going to be for a barge, maybe we can have it so that if you go across the bridge, there's a train station, like a rail hub that goes all the way into town. Now that could be something cool. I don't know if there's like full-on train mods where you can like walk around them and stuff, but how cool would it be to have a line where you can just be taking the rails and see that in the distance as you go? You know, that's actually one of the recommended ways to find places to urbex. People actually say you should just kind of take the train off in random directions, especially if it's along rivers and stuff, because a lot of the time those lines will pass through or near old industrial sites. Hey, look. People who haven't totally abandoned me to go stay in that one house. Well, I'm glad somebody out here is enjoying the town. This probably isn't going to end up being a very long episode, but, you know, I just wanted to let you guys know every once in a while that yes, I'm still adding patrons, yes, I'm still working on this, and just kind of give you something to be excited about, plus show off those new mods. And if I didn't remember to put you in the graveyard, like if you asked me and I said I would do it and I didn't, it's because it's been a while. Just keep bugging me. Just keep bugging me and letting me know. Well, I guess we know now why these things appeared. They're part of From the Fog. And I'm thinking, right now, at least for the moment, there's no reason to really demolish it. And it's part of our town lore. And we're pretty big on preservation around here. I have so many ideas, and you guys have given me so many more. But I think there is one more thing that we could stand to work on, an idea I've had for a while, and it should be pretty quick. We'll put it all the way down here so that it's kind of far away, not really visible from the bridge. That's kind of my metric, is making sure things look good from there. And this would kind of kill the vibe a little bit. Because what we need here is a nice little balcony. This is going to just slightly overlook the water. This is something we're sort of lacking in town right now. Okay, I'll admit it. I may be taking a small amount of inspiration from Alan Wake with this one. But believe me, this is all going to be worth it. So the whole idea of this is that we have a fancy restaurant on the water. Kind of thing that can't really be seen until you're around the bend, but which is kind of spookily staring you down as you go by. Hey, look at that. We're getting our second and third bathrooms on the map. So, you know, I guess that situation is improving. Why do you guys always show up where it's annoying? There you go. You've been sealed into the floor of the restaurant. Look at it this way. At least you won't be served a steak. And they're never going to figure out where that noise is coming from. Alright, I am just about out of time, and this isn't quite finished yet. It ended up being a little bit more detailed than I expected, which I should expect at this point, because that's how it always goes. But anyway, the fancy restaurant is more or less ready to show. So right in here, you would have the reception area. There would probably be a desk where someone can come and receive you. Over on the right, we have these bathrooms. They're both the same, and look, these people even get the luxury of a sink. Still think it's so cool that these things actually turn on. And over on the left, we have the kitchen. It's got a saloon door, very important, because the thing you have to understand about wealthy clientele is that they really like to watch as their food is prepared. The reason is so that they can make sure that the cook isn't trying to usurp them and poison them. And here we have the dining area. I really, really like the shadows that are cast as the sun sets. And we can come out here and enjoy a meal on the water, or even just relax. I'm actually kind of surprised at the variety of things that have been happening in this episode. I mean, how do we go from the lap of luxury all the way from a dilapidated, abandoned old mine forgotten on the side of the river? And both of them connected by the fact that they are along the same river. Well, this episode has themes, I guess. You can connect them if you want, but I'm all done for now. And if you like this video, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more creepy and comfy content. If you have any ideas for other videos you think I should do, the best place to suggest that will be at the Discord, which I will link in the description. If you want to try these mods out for yourself, well, here they are on the screen. If you want to support me on Patreon, that link will be in the description. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.